Hello, everyone. This is Khalil Masi.
And I'm Alexandria Williams.
I'm Niala Hope.
I'm Maya Abney.
I'm Janelle Stevens.
And we are inside the Action Studio.
Hey, everyone. This is Khalil Masi on the Inside the Action Studio with my co-host Alexandria Williams. We're here with three of the Dora Milaje of the Black Panther: Janelle Stevens, Maya Abney, and Niala Hope. Now, Black Panther has been out for a few weeks. It's close to or has made over $1 billion already.
This morning, as of this morning, it has hit
All
$1
right.
billion.
Exactly. It has changed the cultural landscape and the cinematic landscape. Now, we're going to talk about that and some other things for as their acting career, but before that, we want to know who they are.
So my first question, before you guys even decided to go into acting, into stunts, what were you guys doing in school that actually helped you get to where you are now? Sports, theater, or as a child, gymnastics? I know you did gymnastics. What started your path to where you are now?
You can go down the road.
Sure. Sports, athletics was my foundation. I played Division I basketball in college, and then every other sport under the sun for fun. And everything that I did for fun as a hobby, I realized it was a resume builder. I was preparing for this career just by having fun in life, and now I'm getting paid for it.
I've been dancing since I was about 2.5. Always a more athletic dancer, so I'm classically trained modern dancer. So dancing, acting, singing, music theater, yeah.
All the arts.
All the arts.
My family was kind of in the industry, so they raised me in athletics and in entertainment. So following, I guess, in their footsteps inadvertently has led me
That's
here.
what you hear. What do your parents do?
Well, my mom was a music producer, and my father was an acrobat and producer and choreographer, dancer,
Oh, that's awesome. So you're-
trainer to the stars. So yes,
Second generation, you were born into it.
yeah.
And you played basketball.
I did.
And like, how far did you go in it?
I went to semi-pro level.
Mm-hmm.
I had aspired to go professionally. At one point, I thought about going overseas to play, but I kind of lost a little bit of the passion, and I didn't want to just do something just to say that I did it. I went to a pro camp, and I realized I could have done it, so I felt comfortable with that, and then, went on another path. I fell heavily in love with martial arts.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
Something in common here.
Yeah, there you go.
Before I ask a little further question about martial arts, now I noticed that now Alex played basketball as well.
I did play
And I believe
Division II basketball, not
Wow.
Division I, Division II
And-
basketball.
and Alima Dorsey played
basketball.
basketball as well. There's something in that makes you say, okay, I want to get into stunts.
I've actually been hired for a job for basketball, which is funny, but no, it wasn't through just basketball. It was more on my path in martial arts that really got me into it, into stunts.
And what type of martial art did you study?
I studied Jeet Kune Do, Muay Thai, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu,
Okay.
primarily.
Interesting. And you're a dancer.
I am a dancer.
And where did you study?
Well, I grew up in Columbia, South Carolina, so I trained there as well. I went to governor's school down there, but I got my BFA from the Ailey Fordham BFA program. So the Ailey school is kind of influenced me the most.
Interesting. And a gymnast. That's interesting as well too.
Yeah.
So you said your parents were. I know you mentioned something about them being in the industry for its music, but how did?
Oh, my father was an acrobatic performer for anti-gravity, and so he was always traveling. But then when he was dancing and choreographing for different artists, there was always like with him like an acrobatic aspect in it. Like he was always flipping across a music video or doing something crazy. So.
Were you like, I want to do that too?
Of course. So they put me in gymnastics when I was 1, and then I was kind of like training to like be like an Olympic gymnast, but then my father died and my mom took me out, so it was like on and off. Like I still wanted to go back, but it was like it's expensive and it took a lot of time, also away from academics. So I just did it recreationally, and then went into cheerleading and then diving team in college because we didn't have a cheerleading team.
And you were from where originally?
Far Rockaway, New York.
You're from Far Rockaway, New York.
New York.
And you're from
Originally Freeport, Long Island.
Freeport, Long Island. I know you said Columbia, South
Columbia,
Carolina.
South Carolina.
Interesting. So how did you guys make your way to New York City?
Well, my parents both worked in the city for a long time, even after getting a house in Long Island, and I would stay with my grandparents during the week. And I just loved the city. Every time I would go, my friends would be like, "Where are you from?" I'm like, "New York." They're like, "No, you're not." I'm from Long Island. But I always loved the energy of the city, and I always wanted to be in it. So.
I moved for college when I was 16.
Okay.
Yeah.
At 16?
At 16,
Okay.
I started a little early.
Okay, okay.
I mean, I was always going to the city for auditions and modeling gigs with my mom growing up. I personally do not like the city. I really can't stand it. But,
It's too many people.
It's too many people. It's loud. I went to high school at LaGuardia, so I was on the train every day for 4 years. It's like I'm done. But I live in Far Rockaway, so I'm by two blocks from the beach, and so that like allows New York to be okay for me.
Well, I'm from Jersey originally, and I love Jersey. I lived in New York, came back to New Jersey, so I know what you mean. It's not that I don't like the city, but I like Jersey.
It's different when you grow up in it, too. When you grow up in close
Exactly.
proximity, it's just different.
Because I'm from Long Island too, if I say I'm from New York, I'm like, Long Island isn't really New York, but
Always wanted
Yeah.
to rep the city. I do like the suburbs, though. I like getting away from the city every once in a while.
I love the
so.
suburbs.
Now, I'm kind of going to segue towards the industry, and just what were your first steps, and when did you know this was what you wanted to do, and what were your first steps?
Well, I knew when I was going to be a lawyer, so I interned for a judge at the Queen's Court, and over that summer I was like, I don't want to do this. So when I went to college, and then all of the professors and like the school generally like pushes you into certain fields like law and like just higher status careers, investment banking, like hedge funds, stuff like that, banking and like medicine. And I knew like I didn't want to do any of those things because I spoke to like 40 alumni and they were all like, I'm stressed out, I hate my job. And I was like, dang, I don't want to do that. So I was on Facebook one day like procrastinating homework, and my friends were like posting about their job. They're like, oh, hashtag on set, hashtag stunt life. And I'm like, what do you guys do? They're like, oh, we're stunt people. And I was like, that is a job, and I think I'm qualified for it. So that summer I went out, handed out my headshot and resumes to like all the coordinators I could come into contact with, and someone called me later that year, like in October, November. So that was my path. Yeah.
My point of entry was very different. Panther was my first stunt-oriented gig, and I am acting and dance primary. And since I've been dancing since I was about 3 years old, I didn't know if I did it out of habit or if I did it because I loved it. So I didn't know I wanted to do it until I stopped doing it. And I joined corporate America, and I had a corporate job for 8 months, and it was horrible. And I was asleep by 9:30 every day in my little cubicle. Yeah, and I was miserable. So then came the task of getting back in shape, because 8 months being sedentary is a long time for any athlete. Yeah, and I finally got back in shape and auditioned for Lion King, and that kind of set the course for everything.
Glad you mentioned that. I was going to ask you, how was that experience?
Lion King's amazing.
It's amazing.
It's a
right
great show. If you haven't seen it, you got to see it. It's going to be around for
Forever?
eons, so it's fine.
Are you still doing that show?
I am not. I'm actually slated to start a new show on Broadway soon. Yeah. Yeah, that was years ago.
Yeah, no, I know.
That was,
That's why I was asking if you were
that
like,
was
going
for
back
two
to
and a half
Lion.
years. I did that, and we started in 2009, I think. That was a long time ago. Yeah.
So what's the new show?
I can't say because they
I
haven't.
knew it.
They
I
haven't
knew she
announced
could say it
yet.
by the way you said
haven't
that, so I
announced
wasn't
yet.
gonna ask.
I'm going to ask, even though I know
I
there's
know.
certain things that they're
That's 'cause
not
you
going to
can't
tell
take
us while they're
hints.
here with us. I'm
I'll
still
tell
gonna
you off
ask.
camera.
Okay.
Off camera.
Okay, and yourself.
Well, I've always been interested in acting and modeling. My parents put me in modeling when I was younger, but there was always a balance I had to play with athletics and modeling. I even tried in college, but because of my Division I contract, I couldn't sign the modeling contract that I wanted to do. So after I graduated, I actually didn't think about it for 2 months. I got my master's in sport administration. I wanted to be like a GM of a professional team, but I took an office job for a year and realized I cannot sit at a desk. It's just not something I can do. It was the worst year of my entire life. I was actually going to auditions for acting and modeling during my lunch period and not eating, going to the auditions. But, then I was like, all right, career switch. I became a personal trainer to have that be my supplementary job just so I could pay the bills. Fell in love with training though and kind of put acting and modeling to the side. And then when I got into martial arts, a lot of the stunt community started coming to my martial arts school, Anderson's Martial Arts Academy in the city, and they would do rehearsals and stunt stuff and previs, and I was like, and at that point I had,
I get in?
I had my own personal training business at the time, and I had got myself to a high level in my martial arts, and I said to a friend that I hadn't seen in a while, and I was like, I think I want to do this, and she goes, are you sure? Because I think you'd be good at it. So she was like, give me a headshot, put together a resume, and I was like, well, I don't have any experience. She goes, no, put together everything that you've done active, any skills that you have. So I started writing it down and realized that I'd been training for the career my entire life without knowing it. So she put my name in for a job. I did a good job. My name circulated, and here I am.
That's awesome because you guys all have like the same backstory. Like I tried to do something else, like an office job, and I just couldn't do it. And it's like you knew right away as soon as you tried to do something else that this is not what you were meant to do.
Just creative people, active people we're not made
Meant
for
to
that.
sit in an
We're not
office all
made
day
for
doing
that.
Yeah.
Isn't that kind of like your path as well, though?
Yeah, pretty much exactly. Yeah.
And you guys have something else in common as I'm hearing this conversation going on as a personal trainer and as you're a martial arts champion, right?
Yes.
She's a Golden Glove boxing champion.
Oh, nice.
So I'm just seeing a lot of commonality.
The slightly less talented twin sister over there.
Hey, Ed, you got any questions back there you want to ask? I told you we're informal. Questions can come from the side, the back, wherever.
Enjoying the conversation.
Enjoying the conversation, okay. Okay, so we're going to take a break now. We're going to come back to Inside the Action Studio with the ladies of the Dora Milaje.
Hi, I'm Janelle Stevens.
I'm Maya Abney.
And I'm Niala Hope.
Hope to see you at the 2018 Newark IFF. Wakanda Forever.
Hey everyone, this is Khalil Masi with my co-host Alexandria Williams, and we're back inside the Action Studio with the ladies of the Dora Milaje.
Welcome back. Hi. Well, what we wanted to get into next is, I know everybody's waiting to hear about Black Panther, but before we get into Black Panther, what have you guys been doing before you got this huge role?
Well, I've been doing stunts for about 3.5 years now. So most of the shows that film in New York I've been on. My first job was doubling Uzo Aduba on Orange is the New Black as Crazy Eyes. So that was interesting, matching
And that
her
was your first
energy.
job?
Yeah, my first job. Then I did Law & Order, speaking role on Gotham, and all of the other shows, practically all the Marvel shows that film in New York.
All the Netflix Marvel shows.
Yeah, the
right?
Netflix Marvel superhero shows. And I've worked in Atlanta. I've done, I've doubled for Keke Palmer, Whoopi Goldberg. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I can see the
awesome
Kiki.
resume.
I can see the Kiki going on.
Yeah.
No, I was trying to figure out where I recognize you because any superhero show I watch, so Gotham, that is what I remember you from.
They took
Gotham.
my eyes. I had hair then too. I had an afro.
Well, yeah, that's why I
Yeah.
didn't completely recognize
It
you
was like-
from.
They had they CGI'd out. They CGI'd out my eyes. But I didn't even-
I was like, they took your eyes.
Yeah.
They took your eyes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah, if you watch Gotham, it's like they do some crazy
They
stuff
did
with
some wild
Gotham.
stuff on that show.
Yeah.
So they killed you and took your eyes?
No, they left me alive.
And
Threw
took
me
your
back
eyes.
in the cell, and I'm just like, they took my eyes.
Oh,
Well, and Jada Pinkett was my scene partner, so that was
Well, that's
fun.
fun.
I've got a similar story on Blacklist, but that's another story.
Before Panther, so like I said before, Lion King was my first gig. Did Lion King, so many years ago. Some TV shows, Good Morning America, Latin Grammys, Daytime Emmys. In New York, I did After Midnight on Broadway. I love that show. The cast was amazing. Anna Nicole with BAM, Black Nativity, Fox Searchlight with Casey Lemons directed that. What else was it? A couple commercials.
You diverse.
I have had a very diverse, but I've been fortunate enough to have a diverse portfolio.
Yeah, because you also have the dance background, so you get
the
to
dance
see,
and the acting,
like,
so
ask me to
BFA from
dance.
Ailey, and then I got my master's from NYU in performance studies, and then I went to William Esper for acting, did their 2-year
Okay.
Meisner program. Yeah.
How was that transition from stage to screen?
It's interesting. They're two very different beasts. I was speaking before with one of your associates. I love stage. I love theater, and I hope to always have my foot in theater. I love being able to attach yourself to a character and performing that character, being that character 8 times a week is amazing. Like the depth you can reach when you do that is amazing. But film teaches you to be in the moment because you don't know how many takes you're gonna get. This one take might be your last take, so you really have to be present. And it teaches you to catch the ball of what your scene partner is giving you, because you don't get to do it again tomorrow. So very different.
Very zen.
Yeah. It both of them, they balance one another out very well.
Yeah, definitely. And yourself?
I, like Miala, have worked in a lot of the TV shows in New York as a stunt performer. So, sometimes you get hired as a stunt double, sometimes you get hired as a stunt actor. My first job was Mysteries of Laura. It was a doubling job on that show. I met some fantastic people on that show, and they took me under their wing that day and taught me a lot about the business. That was a fantastic day on set. I think it was a really good base and foundation for me going forward. But I also double Simone Missick on Luke Cage. I've been doing that since Luke Cage season 1.
That's Misty Night if you guys
Yes,
happen to
sorry.
not watch Luke Cage. It's Misty Night.
Who doesn't watch?
Rock.
So yeah, I've done that. A lot of the other Marvel shows. Iron Fist, because Misty Knight is on Iron Fist now, and what other shows? Blind Spot, Quantico. I can't even
It's
think
more
right
difficult
now.
when you're trying to
Yeah.
think about your
That's
resume.
why I was stressed.
We had a really good fun day that they did not show in season 7 of Orange is the New Black. It was a very, very
They
that was
We were filming all day.
mad as I
I was so mad. We filmed all day. He had like this crazy fight sequence.
It was
and
so
the
good.
whole hallway, like full of stunt women
all
fighting,
stunt
going
women,
crazy.
all down the
Tell
hall.
me why they
was
put
cut.
it at the end of the show.
They didn't even show the fight though.
It wasn't. It wasn't even. Fight. It was like an aerial
All
shot
the
of just
aftermath.
people looking. Yeah, like nothing. I was.
It was seeing that.
Oh man, it was
It
such a
was
good
that
day.
shot.
There were so many stunt women in that scene.
It was such a like nicely choreographed
Yes.
chaos though,
Yeah.
and I was like, yo, it's
Yeah.
gonna be wild. Like, our reels gonna be
It was
pop.
that was a great.
And we cut it.
So that's the story of our lives. A lot of the stuff gets cut out. But that was a great day. Orange is the New Black was
That was
a good.
fun.
It's a good memory.
Yeah,
It's a good story.
Yeah,
So out of all the things you guys do, what do you prefer? Do you prefer to be the main character with lines in front of the camera? Do you pretend to stunt double, do stunts, stunt actress, background? Or do you want to be seen and do you want lines?
I love to work. I love to work. That being said, I definitely prefer to be the main, the actor in front of the camera with the lines, being seen as myself.
I think, well, I'm actually on the fence for this because a lot of people say that I should be, have more speaking stuff for whatever reason. I don't know where they get that from, but I think I like the action part of it. It allows me to like do stuff that I wouldn't otherwise get to do.
Yeah.
Like, when else are you gonna get to go through a glass?
Yeah,
window? Like, no
jump
one
off
does
of
that.
something.
Or slide a car like through traffic. Like,
Yeah.
that's probably never gonna happen. I mean, you get arrested for that stuff. So just the fact that
You get
we're
paid
allowed-
to do it.
Yeah, we get paid to do it. We're trusted enough to like have, you know, that kind of action.
Yeah.
And our life is amazing. But then also with the acting part, I feel like it's nice to be recognized. Like,
Yeah.
I think if stunts people were recognized more so, like especially with Oscars
With the
and everything
Oscars.
else, or even just being invited to like Hollywood
Yeah.
events, like we're a part of Hollywood too, and
yeah.
like if nobody
I mean, I would
cares,
say
apparently,
those movies would not. They wouldn't be
no
movies without any stunt.
It'd be whack.
Yeah.
So
I like both. I like work, and I do like I like the athletic part of it, and the fighting and all of the action. I do like to be in front of the camera as well. So my ideal, you know, the actress who is, you know, doing everything. I think it would hurt my heart if I were on set as an actress and they're like, okay, here's your stunt double. It's like,
Yeah.
I want to
Yeah.
do it, you know. So, but I do like, you know, the being in front of the camera. But I do definitely like all of the active, fun things.
But I also like the privacy of being a stunt person. Like, say we were like real, like, what's that called? Like famous or whatever.
Well, you are now.
You are now.
I'm still low-key. That's something else. I'm still low-key. So like, it's like them, like when people hit you up and like randomly, like, hey, I'm from Switzerland. Like, can I come see you? No. Like, I want to be over here and like I want to get my check and be
Keep to yourself.
be safe. You know.
Be safe. Safety is important.
Safety is important. But no, I think it'll be cool to like see how this ends up, you know,
Bringing
on the
it further,
yeah,
yeah.
on the other side of that.
Now, like I said, we're going to talk about Black Panther, but before we talk about that, what, in your other roles that you've done, what specific training have you had in order to perform the roles that you?
For the actual roles?
Yeah.
I've trained so many. There's like, to be honest, there's not enough hours in a day. You know, I train martial arts almost every day. So there's always that, and that's what my specialty is as a stunt performer, is fighting. So outside of that, you know, I do try to, you know, broaden my horizons by, I've gone and taken gymnastics classes. I've, you know, what other things? Any skill that I don't. Wakeboarding. We've been wakeboarding together. You know, you never know what you're going to get called for.
Which wakeboarding?
Basically snowboarding on the water.
Oh,
And
okay.
from, you know, holding onto the back of a boat.
You learn something every day.
Yeah,
man.
anything that we do, honestly, actively is kind of training. You know,
Yeah.
I just got hired for something like, hey, do you have your scuba certification? I was like, oh, yes, I do. And I had done that because I just wanted to learn how to scuba, you know, so that's
Okay.
something that is you know, anything.
So you had it prior?
I did have that prior.
Because I also hear about people sometimes who say, yeah, I had it, then they run out and get it. And,
Oh, no. I've
yeah.
had it prior. But even with that, you know, you have to keep up with the things that certifications that you have. So, you know, even though you have something you're certified in something, you still have to constantly do it. And there's so many avenues and stunts that you can go, driving, with fire burns, with high falls, with fighting. So, you
Yeah,
know,
so I was gonna
any
say,
of
if you
those
guys
things, if
do
there's a
any-
seminar out there, I will go to that. You know,
Yeah.
so.
What was the question?
Just training.
What are the
Training.
training like?
Training.
That's what I was gonna ask. Does anybody do like driving? I know
Oh,
most
yeah.
of you guys do fights. Does anybody do driving, motorcycle driving,
Yeah,
fire?
I have my motorcycle license. I took my first motorcycle, like stunt motorcycle class. What was it 2 months ago? I think something like that. That
Okay, ask you about
it's a
that
great
too.
time. I learned how to slide a bike. I rode the dirt bike. We did a little chase scene at the end, so that was dope. I can't wait to get back
That's awesome.
to JT's class. I also work at Rick Siemens Motion Picture Driving Clinic on the East Coast, and we do stunt driving there. So all of the basics of stunt driving, so sliding 90s, 180s, reverse 180s, like skid turns. We do all that stuff there. Yeah, it's a great time. I love it.
I'm taking that seminar.
That's what I like. I need all of that information.
Yeah.
Motorcycles, the
No, like come
driving.
through. Like,
I
it's
need all of
like
that.
I love stunt driving so much, and I'm just fortunate that I get to work there because I get to have the seat time and like be around like people who
Yeah.
actually work and like do that. So that's just great too.
For me, with training and with what translated well with Black Panther and Avengers as well, just the dance, classically trained, so ballet, modern, Horton and Graham, jazz, African, and then later on singing, which helps with vocal development and being able to say lines and articulate, knowing where to speak from when given lines. But for me, it's just that knowing how to deal with choreography and knowing my body, knowing movement, knowing lines. I was surprised at how well it lent to the movement work for stunts. It's just lines. It's lines and how well the lines in dance translate to lines on camera, lines with the pro staff, lines when blocking someone else's strike.
Yeah, no, I did hear that dance does translate very well to martial arts.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
And gymnastics was really good for me.
Yeah.
Just aerial awareness is generally like a good thing to have for stunts. But then like also like horseback riding, snowboarding,
Yeah.
rollerblade, like
All-
everything
all the
else
skills,
that
all the
everything
skills,
else
yeah.
that we do for fun is like super helpful.
Okay, well, that's a lot of information, guys, and we're not done yet. All right, we're going to take another break, and then we'll be back for part 3 of Inside the Action Studio. Hey everyone, this is Khalil Masi, and we're back for part 3 of the interview with the Dora Milaje of Black Panther. So now the part that of course everyone wants to talk about, Black Panther. How did you get the job? I'm going right into it. How did you get the job? Who gave you the call, the audition? How did it go down?
Okay, so they had posted about looking for like Amazonian tall black females who can do bow staff, I think. And I'm like,
Can I do this?
I don't even know
Where did
what
you
that
see
even
this
looks
casting
like.
first?
It was on one of the stunt pages.
Okay.
And so, and it didn't really like hit me that it was like for a real show. I was like, oh, I'm not submitting to that. So like I kept scrolling past it. And then my friend sent it to me, was like, no, submit to this. So I was like, all right, whatever. I submitted to it. And then the fight choreographer, Clayton Barber, called me and I picked up the phone. I didn't know who it was. So I was like, hello? Like, why are you calling so early in the morning? And he was like, hi, this is Clayton Barber from Black Panther. And I was like, oh, good morning, how are you? He was like, you just waking up? I said, yes, how are you doing? He was like, well, we want to know if you can come down for an audition. No, he said, can you come in for a meet and greet in Atlanta? So I was like, okay. I was like, when? He's like, well, tomorrow.
Wow.
So they flew me out, and so I thought I was going for a meet and greet. So I put on like a nice shirt, some jeans, I was trying to be cute.
They wanted you to audition,
I
show that
went
you can use
there.
that staff.
Good thing I brought some, leggings. Because he was like, all right, go warm up. And I was like, warm up for what? He said, oh, it's an audition. So I trained that whole day with Matt, Emig, and Micah Carnes, and Clayton Barber. And it was just seeing like what I could do, seeing how I move. And then he said the director's going to come in and have me audition for them. So I did the little piece they taught me. And I flipped for Ryan, and he was, ecstatic about it. And then, I got the job as Lupita's stunt double. And later on, I became a Dora Milaje as well.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's fun.
So, amazing.
I don't care. Okay. It's my understanding that there had been several rounds of auditions for Dora Milaje, and Ryan, the director of Panther, got the idea to use dancers. So he reached out to two directors that he knew in San Francisco, young directors. They are coming up together, and asked them for ideas on who could possibly work the gig. And They reached out to a dancer that they knew, who also ended up being one of the Dora Milaje. She submitted about 10 of us. They flew 4 of us down, and we auditioned, and they hired 2 of us.
Interesting.
A couple coordinators in New York just reached out to me randomly and said, hey, submit your stuff headshot resume to this email. So I had done that. I had seen that post too and submitted it then as well. I feel like I submitted to this more times than I realized, because at the time I didn't know what it was for. And then after that, I guess I figured I didn't get anything because I didn't heard anything for maybe a month or 2. And then Andy Gill, the head stunt coordinator, gave me a call and he said, hey, are you available to fly to Atlanta next week for an audition? I said, absolutely. I was on set at the time and I was talking to another veteran stunt woman and he was calling me and I was like, I'm on set, I didn't want, she's like, go answer that call. So I went off to the side and I spoke to him and he went over the logistics and I flew down, they flew me out for the audition for, one day in and out, and a few days later, they were like, you got the job.
So, now how soon after that did you guys start training?
I got there the end of November, and they told me I had gotten the job in October, I think. So it was about a month, and then I was there in November till production break, December 16th, I believe. And then we had the 2-week break, and then came back in January.
I came onto the project after they did. I got hired, I auditioned in October and got hired in November and started in January.
I was with Janelle.
Okay.
We started the same day.
What kind of training did they have you guys doing?
Learning bow
Bow
staff.
staff.
A lot of bow staff.
Yeah, a lot of technique for bow staff. You literally do like the same angle 100 times, 200 times a day for the staff.
Because we were trained by martial artists who be champion martial artists. And the Ninja Turtles.
They're also the Ninja Turtles.
Right. I'm saying that I was trained by
Donatello and Michelangelo.
Yeah. So they wanted us to look like martial artists. So getting that repetition in like a couple weeks or months, as opposed to like their 10 years of training. So we just trying to catch up.
Were you trained? So you guys trained for like a couple months before you even started filming, or were you training while you were filming?
Months
Both.
before.
We trained months before, and then while we were filming, we would anytime that we weren't on set, we were in the gym.
That's awesome.
But it definitely paid off, and it was not. But they also wanted us to be very synchronized, so it felt really good when we were on set one time, and they were supposed to have the guys do the whole salute as a unit, and they didn't have as much training as we did. So Ryan was like, "Oh, ladies, show them how to do it," and we were just on point. It was just, it was well-oiled machine by that time we got to camera.
That's one thing that being in the gym so much together kind of lent to.
One takes.
Yeah, right. And
Definitely.
us feeling like a unit and being bonded, just being bonded.
So it's like a team.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Like it was, you guys were
So,
an army.
How does it feel? Because like I said earlier, the film has changed the cultural landscape in some ways, and people who do know that you are part of the Dora Milaje, and it's kind of like this whole new sorority thing, that I can feel the energy on screen, and then when people are talking about it, it's just like the Dora Milaje have taken on a life of their own right now. How does it feel to even be part of that?
I think it feels amazing, especially coming from an athletic background and a team environment. I just, working is having to, for as much as we train together, it's like when you practice and practice and practice and practice before the actual game comes, and then you have the game and things just work out the way that you wanted it to, the way you prepared for it to, and it's just an amazing feeling to see the benefit and reap the rewards of all the hard work that you put into the film. So I think it brought a cohesiveness that, is I really can't put into words completely because it just was the feeling that I have from that is fantastic.
Yeah.
For me, the most amazing thing is knowing that there are little girls who have seen themselves on screen, who have seen these warriors that are that look like them. They have natural hair. They are black like them. They're strong and they're intelligent and they're. For me, that's the best part. Knowing that I have been a part of inspiring the next generation, doing something, empowering the next generation, empowering women in perhaps a way that I wasn't empowered.
Yes. Yes.
I agree with them.
You,
The moment,
Yeah, what she said.
the moment that it hit me was when I was on Instagram and I saw and I reposted it, and it had been reposted several times, and there was a shot of these two boys looking at the poster. It's like, oh, I'm that one. I literally broke down into tears. Like I started crying. So I reposted it, and I hadn't realized at that point, because when you're in it, you go with the moving, small moving parts. We didn't see every other scene in the movie. We weren't there for every shot. So when you see the movie and then you see them and them identifying themselves with the poster, it just brought me to tears, and that's when it hit me that how impactful our contribution to the culture it was, and I felt like at that point that it was a responsibility that I had, I've been given.
Yeah, I think social media, because I saw the response to the movie before I saw the movie. So after seeing the response, I was like, oh, people are really like,
love with
yeah, they're in love with the movie. Like they feel so empowered by the movie. And I mean, I've been wanting this for Black people for a long time. So just the fact that I was a part of it is like I feel like I've contributed to bringing other people up, and that's what I wanted.
Contributed to Black history.
I
You
contributed
guys
to
are a
Black
part of
history.
Black history.
And that's great. And seeing, like I said, I wanted to be a Xena growing up. Like I wanted to be like Pocahontas. Like I don't know, jumping through the wind. But seeing Dora Milaje like fighting and being strong, and Denai's character, Nakia's character, and Shuri with the smarts is like important.
Specifically now with the current racial climate, with Black Lives Matter, with the Me Too movement, we needed this.
We needed this.
And yes, it's Hollywood, and yes, it's a fictional story, but it's a representation
but for kids,
of us.
It's not really fictional right now.
Agreed,
It's not.
agreed. And even the power of seeing yourself as a prince, seeing yourself as a king, seeing yourself as a warrior, seeing your people and knowing that Black people are not from shithole nations, knowing that you come from a rich culture, you come from strong people. To me, that's amazing. To me, that's a massive contribution that we've been a part of.
Definitely.
And the movie also draws on different aspects of like African and like powerful African cultures. And I think that's really important because it's not just fictional. It's like based on
It's authentic representation.
A bunch of true stories. So
It's funny that she mentioned Xena because I was obsessed with Xena.
Me too.
I wanted to be Xena. But now, little Black girls that are coming up now
Like,
can
They
see
want to be Dora
us.
Milaje.
And that is, it means more than I can express because I'm a part of that. I'm what I saw on screen, and we represent them, And now, and it's not just on platforms that have come out before. Like when we are, like she has said before, we weren't over-sexualized. They picked our costumes tastefully, and we weren't, recognized or for that. We were recognized for our intelligence, for our strength as women, and that I think is the most important thing. It just. I'm like at a loss for words. I'm like
Talking
emotional.
about that earlier, like when we were growing up. I mean, what did we watch that saw where we saw people like us doing something powerful?
that was Catwoman, and that wasn't.
And now it's terrible.
And now we're on a really
The Catwoman was Black though, right? Yeah, Eartha
Holly
Kitt.
was Holly
Eartha
Berry.
Kitt.
I was talking about
Yes, we know.
Hey, guys, we're going to take another break, and then we're going to come back because I have just a couple more questions that I have to ask. All right, so we're going to take a break, but we'll be right back with Inside the Action Studio. Everyone, this is Khalil Masi, and we're back inside the Action Studio with the ladies of the Dora Milaje and my co-host, Alexandria Williams. We've had some great conversation. There's so many other questions that I would like to ask, but I'm going to turn this over to my co-host.
So, in honor of International Women's Day, which was a couple days ago now, what messages do you have for women and girls of color?
Okay.
that are finally beginning to see people that look like them on TV, beginning to realize that they can do more than what we've been told we could do or shown that we can do.
That's exactly what I would have said. We are more than society has labeled us as in past, even recent past. You can push beyond boundaries that other people have set for you because there are none. You can do whatever you want to do, whether it's being a Dora or being a lawyer or just doing whatever. There is no ceiling. You know? The world is your oyster.
Just basically reiterating, one thing that I love about this movie is it breaks barriers and it recognizes that we as people of color, we're refusing to be relegated to roles of the help and thug number 2 and stripper number 3. Like, know that you're not thug number 2 and you are not thought on the corner. You're so much more than what you were saying, what we've been told that we are. You're geniuses and you're artists and you're warriors and you come from royalty.
You come from
like
royalty.
you come from royalty. Yes. So for me, that is the takeaway. What I hope young people take away from this movie.
And I would say, for me, especially with my background, just believing in yourself. Not only like seeing that other people like you can do it, but believing that you yourself can as an individual, believing in your talents, and knowing that if you really want it, you can make it happen for yourself. Just keep dreaming. Like, don't stop dreaming. Don't let anyone tell you that you can't do something because of what you look like or what kind of schooling or education you have or, you know, your skin color, your gender, whatever. It's not about that. It's about your determination and just how much you really want it.
All right. Now, before we totally wrap up, we're in Newark, New Jersey, and I would be remiss, that's the right word, remiss, right? If I didn't say that this is the hometown of Michael B. Jordan. And is there anything you ladies want to say to Mike while you're here?
Hi.
The Killmonger.
He's amazing. Beautiful person inside and out. He has a very good heart. He was very warm to all of us on set every time he saw us, hug and kiss. And it was just, it was awesome to go into work, you know, and he's uber professional. Just to see him work sent goosebumps down my arms, just, you know, how talented he is. It was very refreshing to see.
That was one of my favorite scenes, the scene between Chadwick and Michael B. Jordan, the first scene where Killmonger is introduced to the throne room.
Hey, Auntie.
I love that.
Right.
That was my favorite part of the movie.
And when they get so close and they're having that conversation just between the two of them, it was amazing to watch and amazing to feel the tension that he brought to that character, how he embodied that character. It was really amazing. So I learned a lot. I learned a lot in watching that.
You know that was straight Newark, right?
You know what? I believe it. I believe it.
I was definitely moved by him. Just, I thought I was watching the movie instead of being on set.
Yeah.
I'm gonna talk to him.
Okay. I talked to him personally. It's all good. All right.
No, but like I love that Killmonger character. Like he did a great job.
Yeah.
And I hope he comes back because I was so heartbroken at that. I was like, Where's the rest of this movie? Like, Killmonger needs to come back and finish what he said he's gonna do.
Comic books
He
does.
wasn't, I didn't really think he was like a villain.
He's
He
not
had
a
some
villain.
good
He said-
points.
He said he's an
with a
ant.
cause.
He said he's
Yeah,
an
he
anti-hero.
had some good
Amazing.
points.
Humanized him.
Exactly.
Yeah, they did. That was an amazing.
And that's what
villain.
makes a villain more memorable and
That you
more
can sympathize
relatable.
with.
Yeah.
Well,
not
not that
really
I'm co-signing it, but there's a saying that says one man terrorist is another man's freedom fighter. So that gives people a lot to think about when looking at that movie.
He definitely, started the conversation.
Yes.
I would definitely say
It was
that.
flawed.
Definitely.
Misogyny is all up and through his
Exactly,
character. So it was
exactly.
flawed. But yes, he did. He did
Exactly.
bring the conversation has evolved. The conversation has opened up because of his character. So.
Yes.
Exactly. Well, so ladies and gentlemen, this is it for this edition of Inside the Action Studio. I want to thank our guests, and I want to thank our hosts and producers, and we'll see you next time on Inside the Action Studio.
If you haven't already seen Black Panther 3 times, go see it another 3 times.
If you've seen it 5 times, go see it another 4.
And if you've seen it
Yes.
8 times already, go get the DVD.
DVD.
And go see Avengers Infinity War. And,
Yes.
War as well.
Infinity Wars for sure.
All right.